Jesus' final days leading up to the crucifixion would be filled with a flurry of activity. Matthew 21, 1 through 11 describes the triumphal entry of Jesus into the city of Jerusalem. His fame had spread far and wide, and the people, hoping for a king that would muster an army and cast off the yoke of the Roman Empire, gathered outside of Jerusalem. They praised God, and they cheered Jesus, and they welcomed him into the city like a war hero. Well, in contrast, Jesus humbly enters the city on a colt and weeps over the city's unfaithfulness. When he approached Jerusalem, he saw the city and wept over it, saying, "If you had known in this day, even you, the things which make for peace, but now they have been hidden from your eyes, for the days will come upon you when your enemies will throw up a barricade against you and surround you and hem you in on every side, and they will level you to the ground and your children within you, and they will not leave in you one stone upon another, because you did not recognize the time of your visitation." This same crowd that welcomes him will eventually reject him, because he wasn't the type of king they were hoping for. As Jesus enters Jerusalem, he has 5 days to live. Over the next several days, Jesus would enter the city in the morning, teach publicly throughout the day, and then leave as night fell to stay with friends in the nearby town of Bethany. Whether intended or not, this made it difficult for his enemies to capture him. During the day, when he would be easily located and seized, he's surrounded by crowds of disciples. At night, having left the city, he's not as easily accessible. This problem was solved by enlisting Judas Iscariot, one of the 12 apostles, who agrees to sell Christ into their hands for 30 pieces of silver, the price of a slave. Judas's betrayal would fulfill a painful prophecy regarding the Messiah. "Even my close friend, in whom I trusted, who ate my bread, has lifted his heel against me." Jesus knew of the betrayal, and yet instead of fleeing, embraces Judas, and even warns him that he knew of the deception. With only 1 day left, Jesus gathers with his apostles to eat the Passover meal, a memorial meal to commemorate when God had passed over the firstborn sons of Israel during the final Egyptian plague in the book of Exodus. We will later read in the New Testament that Jesus is our Passover. The sins of mankind are passed over because of the death of God's firstborn son. As Jesus eats the Passover with his apostles, Jesus institutes the Lord's Supper, a commemoration and memorial to be observed by Christians every Sunday in memory of his death. While they were eating, Jesus took some bread, and after a blessing, he broke it and gave it to the disciples and said, "Take, eat, this is my body." And when he had taken a cup and given thanks, he gave it to them, saying, "Drink from it, all of you, for this is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for forgiveness of sins. But I say to you, I will not drink of this fruit of the vine from now on until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom." Having finished the Passover meal and singing a hymn, he leads them to the Garden of Gethsemane, where he requests that they pray for him as he himself moves to seclusion to pray to his Father for strength in the coming hours. His words are heartrending. "And he withdrew from them about a stone's throw, and he knelt down and began to pray, saying, 'Father, if you are willing, remove this cup from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done.' And now an angel from heaven appeared to him, strengthening him, and being in agony, he was praying very fervently, and his sweat became like drops of blood falling down upon the ground." As Jesus finishes praying, a mob, guided by Judas Iscariot, comes marching up the Mount of Olives to the Garden of Gethsemane, where Jesus and his apostles have finished praying. Armed and bearing torches, Judas steps forward, betrays Jesus with a kiss upon the cheek, and they seize him. He never fights back, but his apostles flee, and he's left alone to face the cruel and unjust trials. Jesus is arrested and dragged away by a Jewish mob. It is Thursday night.